by this book, which I'll tell you about in a second. I was also making a bunch of changes to the SAW web pages and stuff, and it was really exciting. And I sort of wanted to tell you all about it, but also it inspired me to sort of riff on some of the things in there. So I'll tell you about that in a second. So what I usually do, I'll do again, which is share my screen and tell you what's coming next and who we are and stuff. So let's see if this is up. Believer, we believe in comics. Friday night workshops, welcome. We are a nonprofit. We're a school. We have courses. It's at learn.sawcomics.org. We have some things coming up, including next week, Jess Rollifson's going to do a workshop, and she hasn't done one of these either, and she's terrific. I'm not sure what her topic is yet. Almost the last chance to jump on the 6-month graphic novel intensive. It starts June 1st. If you're interested, you can reach out to me in any shape or form, DMs on Instagram are fine, anything like that. Email, all good. Also, it's really an exciting program. We have 3 membership tiers. Susan, how's that look? Although we have the free tier, which involves a lot of free resources and events like this one and the Mighty Network. We have the Soft Flow and Published tier, which is weekly exercises in community mentors, anthologies that we produce, and then lots of 3rd tier options where we have a different bunch of membership options, a memoir one, some mentoring, and a printing and publishing thing that's happening really soon. It's not ready yet, but it's almost ready. In all of those, except the free, but the flow and everything higher, you get access to these 4 courses, all of which I think are pretty good personally. And it's this one, SAW Inner Critic Recovery Program, that that inspired me to sort of come up with tonight's workshop a little bit. Back to the graphic novel program. This is the homepage. I'll post it in the chat at some point. Here's some work that came out of it. Here's a little bit. I'm going to go through this so fast, but we've got a step-by-step program. We've got a bunch of resources. We've got the big community, and we've got these pros that'll come in once a month and talk to us about it too. Lots and lots of testimonials over there. You can take a look at learn.sawcomics.org. Share on social media, Friday Night Comics hashtag. You can do @comicsworkshop. And join us over at members.sawcomics.org. And if Susan is doing an after party, she will tell you in the chat. I really want to say thank you to everybody who has donated through Eventbrite. That is a really great thing that that helps us along. And I'll talk more about that at a later date. Let's see, what does that say? No appropriate anything. Okay, enjoy. Okay. Stopping sharing. So today's workshop is really inspired, excuse me, thank you, by, I gotta figure out which screen to do this on. I'll do it on this screen. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna spotlight myself. I forgot I can do that.
Yes.
Is really inspired by Julie Doucet's new book, which is packed with detail and pattern and people, and let's see what else we can find, and animals and letters and light bulbs and mushrooms and more faces. And the astonishing thing, let's see if we can find, here's a good page, is all of these are Julie. The book is Julie telling a story. Here's some other examples. We can find some later on. There's a great example. There's like 90 pictures of Julie on that page telling the story. And there she is, like looking at her diary because she's looking back on this story that happened in her past. The book is called Time Zone J, and somebody can handle that. Thanks, Jen. And she also, she's telling a story from her past, about 35 years in her past. And that's one thing I want us to do. So I want you already to think about a story deep in your past. If you're younger than, like, 12 or something, then maybe 5 or 6 years is enough. But if you're over, like, say 25, go as far back as you can remember, maybe in adulthood or something like that. I've been thinking about this for a couple of days. I'm going to just tell a story from my early 20s, about 30 years ago. It doesn't really matter. And it also doesn't have to be a good story. And also, because you'll be encouraged to ramble a little. Julie rambles a lot. In fact, she doesn't even get to the part of the story. She sort of rambles a lot at first for a while. And then this is another thing that made me think about this, is this little creature sort of pops out of her head and says, "Come on, tell us a story." And it's right in the dead center. And it's not exactly a critical voice. It kind of is. But to me, when I was reading it, I was of the same mind. I was like, come on, tell us a story. And so that's what got me thinking about the second part of this workshop, which is going to be a tiny little bit about the inner critic voice that sometimes pops up, or all the time pops up in some cases. More animals. There's a big dolphin. There's a deer. It seems to be a bike chain running through here. It's a terrific, amazing book. One other thing I want to tell you about the book is that, can you read that? This book was drawn from bottom to top. Please read accordingly. So that's what you do, and you figure it out. Let's see if we can find a good sort of section. And it's not that easy, actually. Like, you read from the bottom to the top. So you look at this, but then actually that you read this balloon, then this balloon, and probably here you read this balloon, this balloon, this balloon, and then probably up here you probably go like this. You sort of figure it out as you go. And when it skips a little, you just ride with it. It's really an amazing, trippy book. And it's all telling the story of a relationship she had when she was in her early 20s, and it got a little crazy. And but again, it's a lot of reflection. It's a lot of her looking back on things, and it's tons of meandering, visual meandering, but also in the word balloons. The story is almost told entirely in the word balloons. And so that's another thing that we're going to try and do. So I'm going to put that somewhere else for now. The third thing, I'm going to share my screen one last time. Not the third thing, but the other inspiration for this, and I'm totally not looking at the chat, y'all, so I appreciate anybody who is. Thank you. The other thing that was inspiring is a variety of artists who have just done a similar thing in other media. And by that, I mean packed their work with details. And there are lots of artists who have done this, like with landscapes. Danielle Jacques is one who I discovered while I was making the Inner Critic workshop. And this is the house that she decorated. And you can see it is just filled with details. There's a zoomed in sort of look at it. You know, and it's not planned out. It's not, I mean, I'm sure sections are planned out, but I mean, it's not, there's not some, she lets her mind wander a little bit. You know, if a blue stone is going to look good here, she's going to put one in. If she finds a nice orange stone, she's going to put it in. You've seen it a lot. You can also see it when people are just sort of collect like old junk. This is mostly hubcaps and some other things. This is in Colorado. Maybe AJ's been there. Dominique Espinoza. And this guy's in Detroit. And the point is that like when you fill up your space and your only goal is to fill it up and to make sure it gets finished and complete, then that sort of voice that tells you not to do it sort of gets drowned out. And that's sort of the plan for today. and I'll show you how I want to do it. Oh, I forgot the king of Kowloon. This guy, I think he's deceased now, but he used to spend his entire day drawing graffiti all over Kowloon in Hong Kong. And he did not have an inner critic. He did have the police throwing him in jail pretty frequently, but he didn't have an inner critic, I don't think. I think he just needed to keep painting. You know, he just needed to keep drawing these letters and these sort of mini manifestos all over town. But and so yeah, he had a genuine critic, and that he did wind up in the tank sometimes. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So we have a mission. Now I'm going to put it in the chat. The mission is our mission is threefold. We're going to tell a story from before, fill the page, drown out the inner critic. And there are a couple steps, but we're almost ready to get started. I'm going to spotlight the, there we go, good. So Susan, I said I was going to call on you. I'm going to call on you in 5 minutes. It's 7:14 right now. And because I'm going to try and do 10 minutes per panel. And what I'd like everybody to do is start by making a 4-panel grid any way you like. I'm going to do it by making a box. Oops. There we go. Tricky, tricky, tricky. Let me get Julie to stay out of there. All right. Okay. And then, all right. This is kind of perfect because they're totally not straight. So our first step is give yourself 4 boxes in any way that you would like to do that. And the reason I just chuckled is because the next thing I want you to do is very small. I want you to draw some sort of inner critic character, really small, right in the dead center. Anything. I'm going to draw sort of imp. And that inner critic should give them a little word balloon and have them say something sort of gentle and critical, but not too much. And what I'm going to have my character say is, your boxes aren't even straight, which that was not the plan. And really small, because what we're going to do is drown it out with detail and pattern and objects and story from here on in. So if you do something like that, you've got a good start, and then we'll go for 10 minutes per panel. And so here's what we'll do. The object is to tell a story, but fill it up with detail, and do it the way Julie did, which is by putting more detail and more story per box than you can imagine. And I'm gonna start. It's kind of hard to do this and tell a story at the same time, which is good because it's also good to see, it's hard to do both at the same time. It's good to sort of defeat the inner critic that way if you're trying to do like 3 things at once. So here's my sort of version of myself. You can draw yourself telling us the story. You can draw a narrator of some kind that's not you. That would be totally fine. I'm going to tell a story about taking a Greyhound back in 1993 or something like that. And I'm going to ramble a lot because I have no idea what part of it I'm going to tell. But here's the thing. I'm not going to let there be any empty space. I'm just going to fill it up with pattern. And if you're the kind of person where you don't know what to fill some space up with, then do this. Just just scribble because
sorry.
was there
Yeah, is the critic and the story supposed to relate somehow?
Well, no.
Okay.
We're letting them be separate. Like,
okay.
But you can say, go away. Here, I'm going to do this. Go away. And then the main object is fill the page, right? So that this thing up here, sorry, I'm right-handed, so my phone is in my right. So this thing is just so inconsequential by the end of it that it's inconsequential, that it doesn't matter. So what we want to do is just fill it up, but also try and tell a story. But like I said, a good rambling story will serve you well here, because that way you can meander the same way Julie did. And if you're like, and here's where Susan's going to come in. Susan, you, in about 2 minutes, you're going to give us all something to draw. Just say like, draw an antelope, or draw a tire, or draw a 3-legged stool or something like that. Okay. Okay, in 2 minutes. And then if you want to, my fellow travelers, you can, or you don't have to. I'm drawing a telephone from the 90s. And so this, oh, wow, and that looks like a phone cord all of a sudden. That's hilarious. I didn't know that. And here's something interesting too. If that inner critic voice pops up again, start the second panel by putting something they said in there. Don't forget the story I'm writing. And I'm just going to let that hang there while I go back to panel 1. Is this all bonkers? Is this making sense?
It's great and bonkers.
I'm glad you guys let me be a little bonkers on this. Okay, so I've got to fill up some things here. Anyway, I was taking a Greyhound. And Susan, in 1 minute, Susanna, your inner critic can be anything you want, but make it really small, because we got to drown it out. And it's okay if by the end it's hard to read, or there's too much detail, or nobody's going to be able to read it in the end, because we're just having fun. And we're just exploring what it looks like to like fill up the page with story and visual meandering. And now Susan Marks, you're on. What should we draw?
A canoe.
A canoe. So if you're up for the challenge, put a canoe in panel 1.
Susan, you picked something that works really well for the story I'm telling. So thanks.
Awesome.
I knew that. You channeled it to me.
So I'm sorry, what is panel 1?
Everything.
I just arrived.
Oh, sorry. All right. How do I explain this?
It's over here in the chat. It's right. I'll put it down again.
Thank you, Susan. Whoever just arrived, take a quick look at this book. I was riffing on Julie Doucet's new book called Time Zone J, in which she tells a story pretty much all in dialogue, her own face telling the story. And then with tons and tons and tons of extra stuff that she threw in the all over it. You don't even say the margins, but there's a tiny on a couple panels inner critic voice that we are putting in the center of our panel that we're drowning out. So this little critic here is pretty much going to be drowned out. So Susan, what I didn't tell you about part 2 of your job is to assign the next person who's going to tell us what to draw in panel 3 or 2.
I will tag Kate Young.
Okay, so Kate, in about 7 minutes probably. We'll call on you to come up with what we can, if we choose, draw in our second panel, in addition to everything else we're drawing. And this story is bonkers. These panels are bonkers. I really appreciate everybody letting, but it's fun. Actually, one reason I wanted to explore this is because I'm actually quite a minimalist. I usually leave a ton of white space. And I was wondering what it would be like to fill up with almost clutter, because I never do it. So we're going to stop this panel in 2 minutes when it hits 7:25. And since we just drew a canoe, I'm drawing a bus since I'm telling a story about a bus. And I'd like to think that our job is to draw bad buses and bad canoes and bad things. So, like, don't worry about whether or not it's good. And if it is bad, you can have your little critic say it, but we're going to drown them out. Lousy bus. I'm writing in panel 2. Don't forget the story. And the critic becomes laughable, I think. I pick up my daughter from school every day on the school bus, and I drew a school bus instead of a Greyhound bus. Oh, well. Okay, so we've got 1 more minute for panel 1. And not that has to be really firm, but since our job is to fill up as much as we can and drown out the inner critic voice, I am going to recommend that you stay on track. But if, we're always free here. So I'm going to scribble a lot and add sort of designs. So 30 more seconds, and then I'm going to move on to panel 2, and you can join me if you like. But that means in 5 minutes, Kate is going to give us something to draw in. I love that. Okay, I'm on to panel 2. I did okay panel 1. I filled it up. And I went, and this was not my intention. I'm just winging it because I'm like full of anxiety and trying to manage all this, stress at once. I managed to draw it in this like weird counterclockwise direction. And so I'm going to keep doing that. Anyway, so panel 2. And start panel 2 with a little inner critic that we're going to drown out again. I'm going to tell my Colorado story, I think.
Hey, Tom, are we doing a different story in panel 2?
Yeah, keep telling the same story. Like, hopefully you'll stretch that story out. If you feel like you finish the story, then just tell another story. But otherwise, just draw it out and let yourself meander. But if you're not the meandering type, then just tell as many stories as you can. Is that okay? Does that make sense?
Yep, thank you.
Sure. We're filling up the space with art and story when it gets down to it. Don't forget, you can add crazy lettering. Colorado. Not enough time to do this. Kate, you're going to be on in 2 minutes. You're going to tell us the next thing we can draw in our panel if we choose to add it. My cousins, I don't know if AJ find this relatable at all. In Colorado, my cousins took me to the site of a satanic ritual. I don't know if they believed it or not. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but that's what they did. They took me and they said, look, there was a satanic ritual happened here. Whoa. I hope you're having fun. I'm doing things I never, ever, 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 ever do in comics in filling it up with this much space. And okay, Kate, what
Yeah, I'm
can
ready.
Oh, good. What can we draw?
A mussel, like the little clam mollusk thing, like a mussel.
God. Okay, I can't pull that up in my memory, but I can pull up a clam. I mean, they're sort of clammy, right? They're not as like they're
They're
not
kind
as
of narrow.
solid.
They're more narrow,
All right,
less
everybody,
round.
if you're up for it, draw a mussel. I mean, yeah. Cool. Do they have tongues? Are those the ones with tongues?
Mussels are the ones that you eat in restaurants that have the long sort of blackish brown shell, and when you take it off, it has sort of like iridescent inside. It looks like mother of pearl.
And if you live near a pier, they attach to piers. To all those little like
Right,
scales that are on a pier.
right, right, right. That gives me a good chance to add my third inner critic voice. You don't know what animals look like. So I'm starting panel 3 that way. But to me, this whole inner critic thing is becoming so silly that I'm going to give him this hangdog sort of look, as if he's just merely disappointed now. Anyway, so that's the beginning of panel 3. Kate, your job also is to pick the next person who's going to tell us what to do in panel 3. And so, Kate, who would that be?
I pick Hattie.
Hattie?
Yeah, I don't know Hattie, but
Oh, awesome. Is that okay, Hattie? He has to be okay with everybody. So Akira, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Scribble over it. Scribble over that inner critic. Maybe that's oh, and somebody else is asking where the satanic ritual site is. Maybe we can tell a different, maybe we can get Akira to tell a different story. What other story would like to come out that is pleasant? or scribble over it or scribble around it or just draw drawings, or hell, just draw flowers. I'm gonna draw in honor of Akiri. I'm gonna draw a bunch of flowers. This was Colorado Springs, by the way, anybody asking, which somebody was asking, I think. Akiri, retell us a fairy tale or your favorite Simpsons episode or an old favorite musical or something. And it's okay if these stories are totally crazy or bonkers, because our job is just to let ourselves be for 20 or 30 minutes or 40 minutes. Our job is not to make something amazing and great. So maybe don't do the inner critic thing and just doodle, but do what you can to fill up the page, because it's fun once you sort of force yourself like to be like, oh, and also our time is coming up on this. You should start the third panel like basically now. Sorry. 1 minute. But when you give yourself a deadline, even if it's a silly deadline, like I have to finish this panel in 10 minutes and it has to be filled with stuff, it can be one way to short circuit that. It can be a bad way to tell a story, but that's okay. That's really not what we're here for. We're here to be present for each other and ourselves for, like I said, 40 minutes or something. Like I'm drawing a bunch of lines and flowers, has nothing to do with my story. So also, Akira, is that helping in the chat? You can let us know. In Colo. So if you're not
What
in
is
third,
the object?
sorry, I was just gonna say, if
Sorry,
you're not on the third panel, it might be good to start. Sorry, I'll take that question now. What?
Sorry, what is the object for panel 3?
Oh, we haven't got there yet, but Hattie, if she accepts it, will be telling us in 5 minutes.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. There was a canoe in panel 1 and a mussel in panel 2, and I'm falling behind. Actually, I think we're going to go a tiny bit long, if that's okay with everybody. I'm adding a lot of words because otherwise I'm not telling my story. In fact, I just wrote the word instead of tape. In anybody who's taken Girls Rock Camp can verify this, but as I understand it, at Girls Rock Camp, when you mess up, you say, I rock. And that's a really good thing to do, even if it's not true, but I assume it's true. Can anybody remember any country stars in the 90s? Was Garth Brooks around then? Yeah, he was. So is Hattie here? Well, Hattie, will you offer a third object, an object for our third panel?
Yes, please draw a campfire.
Oh, sure. Please draw a campfire.
You guys
I
are
was
really
going
helping my
anyway.
camping story.
I know, me too.
I was just going to draw one anyway.
And Hattie, your job is to pick a fourth person to give us a fourth object in about 7 minutes or so.
Nina?
Nina, great. Okay, Nina, will you accept that challenge?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Oh, wow.
Don't forget, your job is to fill up space. So add circles, dots, little squiggly lines, Ed Emberley lines. If you give your job, your critical mind, give it the task of finding empty spaces to fill. Be very pleasing. And so for my fourth panel, I'm just finishing my little inner critic off by just saying, oh, well, okay, whatever. Because he just, for those of you struggling more than this, I'm sorry, and we can talk about how to work with that. But I feel like this one is sort of lost the battle. So I just wrote, okay, whatever. So he doesn't have anything else to say. But I do have to finish this fourth panel. So starting the fourth panel now would be great. And then in 5 minutes, we'll go to Nina, ask for a object.
Does it have to be an object?
No, it can be.
Okay.
I mean, I just has to be
Thing.
drawable, I guess. You know, you could say draw. You could say draw love or something, and you know, yeah, go for it. Whatever you want.
Okay.
Oh, nice job. Libby has a their character is moving off to the side saying, okay, let's see what's happens. Yeah, that's sort of the hope that the sort of soften the inner critic. If we've softened it a little by the end, then we've sort of done our job. Or we've had a good outcome, let's say. Don't know if that was our job. Okay, we're gonna come to Nina in 1 minute. I find this very freeing. I know not everybody's the same. I hope some of you are. Like just adding little circles and things everywhere. I'm like, wow, that feels good to let myself do that. Because usually I'm constrained by the story. Like usually I'm like, well, it has to look like what it is. If it's wood, it has to look like wood. Or if it's a road, it has to look like a road. And now I'm just like adding dots and lines and things. And it's kind of cool. Okay, Nina, are you ready?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we sure can.
Draw an octopus.
Draw an octopus. Okay. Oh, Carol threw her inner critic in the campfire. Oh my God, I can't wait to see these. These are going to be fantastic. Panel. I haven't been keeping up with all this stuff, but I meant to. Oh, I didn't draw an octopus. I forgot. I got distracted by finishing the story. So draw your octopus. and in about 4 minutes, y'all, we'll take our first people who want to share. And if then other people are like finishing and filling up those boxes and stuff like that, that would be awesome. It's really fun. Like I'm just gonna have an octopus saying yikes from
Hey, Tom, while we were working, a couple of people asked if there was still room in the in-person workshop in Gainesville in July.
oh my God, not only is there still room, but I got to start telling more people about it. But yeah, there's definitely still room. I've a couple people interested. Nobody's committed yet, but I definitely want to get people down there. I've been doing so many things like that, sort of broadcasting that to the world has not been front in my mind, but I'm really excited by it. I definitely am going to be there, and it's going to be the kind of workshop that is that will sort of cater to whomever's there. Exploring the library for inspiration, exploring the library of exercises and for ideas about how to further what we're doing, and collaborating a lot on ideas and sharing what. Yeah, so yeah, if you're interested, definitely send me an email and I'll tell you all about the plans. I'm really excited, mostly also because I haven't been there in 2.5 years down in Florida at the new space I haven't even seen. I could finish my panel. Y'all gonna be ready in 1.5 minutes. I see that Katya's ready, so that's super cool. I saw Michael Ashner's post on Instagram today about how much working on through the Linda Berry book helped him. It was really great. Over the course of 2 years or something like that. Two. Akiri, what does it usually feel good to draw? Maybe you could just draw a bunch of those things, or maybe just one. Maybe just the act of drawing would help, and not inner critic needs to go to the Springs Village. I find a lot of people have something comforting that they draw, and maybe it's just a pattern. The kind of thing you might draw if you were watching TV or something, or on the phone. I don't know if people do phone doodles anymore, because it's kind of hard to do that. And Madeline's having the same. If anybody's got some good words for Akiri in the chat, that would be awesome. And I'm going to start looking at some work if y'all, if that's all right with y'all. So we've got some hands up. I'm going to share mine really fast because it's like I said, it's bonkers, and I had no plan. Really, this was not the plan. I was taking a Greyhound. Oh, here's the, so that critic said, your boxes aren't even straight. And I said, go away. And then he says, tell them. And then it says, to back home through the country. It wasn't a canoe. And there he is in the canoe. It was a bus. This is me. All right, so that's panel one. Right, great story. And then he says, I was on buses and a train. Okay, here's the deal. I met an old guy. All right, so here he is. And then, but first, Colorado, and there's a little mountain, and there he is. The inner critic is lousy bus. Don't forget the story. In Colorado, my cousins took me to the site of a satanic ritual, and there's a bunch of mountains, and it just says, and then it says, I will tell about the mussels later, which of course is a lie because there's no mussels in the story, and that's my drawing of a mussel. And then the sort of sad inner critic here is saying, you don't even know what animals look like. Nonetheless, I don't even know where to start in this panel. I write, oh, so, okay, here's all the flowers and lines. So also in Colorado Springs, I saw rap tapes and country music tapes on the same bookshelf, and my mind was blown. There's a big campfire. And then there's NWA next to Garth Brooks and Public Enemy next to country music. And it's true, my cousins had these on the table. And for some reason at that age, at that time period, I was like, whoa. And then anyway, that's the end of panel 3. Oh no, here the guy, he says, so what about the old guy? This was a cross country trip, and I did a lot of like sleeping outdoors and stuff like that. And so this is the last panel. I met an old guy, and he was a cross country traveler. He showed me a place to sleep off the side of the road. He helped me. The inner critic is just like giving up here. So, okay, whatever. And then he showed me his gun and said, I always sleep with this under my pillow. And the octopus says, yikes. And then down here, I say, yet I survived to tell this tale. And that's the whole story. So, yeah. And I have Julie Doucet to thank for it, and y'all for the encouragement and object recommendations. So we'll go to Katya, Nina, Vicky, Erla, and then I'll see who else is in the chat. But Katya, if you're ready, let's just take a look. This is really fun, and I hope you all had an okay time. Oh yeah, and thank you, Susan, for posting the link. And also I'm gonna post, okay, go ahead, Katya, what do you got?
Sorry, okay. I actually finished something, I'm amazed. So this is the story. I went to Cornwall. This is my inner critic, and he says, "Ugh, come on, start this now." And then, so I went to Cornwall in 1999 to watch the solar eclipse. And I remember it was a big deal and it was cloudy.
Cool. Lots of nice patterns of rain and
yeah, and it was kind of, ooh. And then there's the canoe. And those are the people who think they can get a better view from the lake. And then we worried that the clouds would stop us seeing what was happening. And the inner critic says, "Oh, boring. Ooh, muscles."
Wait, what after boring? It says what?
He says, "Ooh, muscles."
Oh, muscles. Oh, funny. Right. It gets distracted easily.
Muscles.
Yeah.
And then right at the last minute, the clouds parted and the sky went dark and it got very cold and it was very eerie. And there's the campfire.
Oh my goodness.
The inner critic, I'm afraid, has had a bad muscle. I had a bad muscle.
That's awesome.
And then finally, the wind blew and we shivered. And it lasted like that for, I'm trying to read this backwards. It lasted like that for
about 5 minutes.
About 5 minutes.
And slowly the sun came back.
Yep.
The warmth felt so good.
Yeah.
Don't know what the critic is saying there, though.
He's like throwing up. And he's like, "Oh, whatever. Ugh." And there's the octopus. Phew, thank goodness the sun came back.
You took a very active approach to the inner critic part. I really like that. I admire that. Thank you.
Well, my inner critic is pretty active.
So you went right back at it. Nice. Thank you so much. I hope you'll post that elsewhere so we can all see that.
I will. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, sure. We'll go to Nina, Vicky, Erla, Jen. So.
Okay. So this is kind of complicated.
Wow.
And it is a story, and I'll have to figure it out. I have to look at it to read it, though. That's tricky. So it's the inner critic said, "Why did you use that pen in the first panel?" Of course, this is me. And then I said, "I was dating this guy T in the late '80s, and it's his name was Tommy, and it said he wanted to be a cowboy, but he was a photographer." And there's the canoe, of course, at the top. And then in the next panel, the inner critic says, "What if this sucks?" And then I said he was a really good kisser, and we would make out for hours. And then it says, "We went to see Dreams So Real, a band, and then one of their songs, Rough Night in Jericho." And then he said, no, and I said he drank a lot of beer. And then there's a muscle in the corner. And then on this third panel, it said he didn't like staying at my house. And I lived across from a park, and it says a woman was murdered in the park across the street. And he was afraid of my neighborhood. The dog, the police said, the police told me to get a dog, and the mailman told me to get a gun. And then he broke up with me. And he said, "I'm looking for the girl next door, and you are from New York City." Oh, and then the octopus killed the inner critic. It says, "Die, inner critic." And then I said, "But I had met another guy. He wasn't as good a kisser, but I married him." So anyway, that's the story.
Fantastic. Please, everybody post these online or something. That would be great. I'm trying to sign out on my phone. That's great. Have you seen Julie's work ever? You had the real spirit of it there. You're still muted.
I love Julie. I own her big compilation, Dirty
awesome.
Plot and Pretty Plot. Yes.
Awesome. Okay. All right. We're going to go to Vicky now. Thanks, Nina.
Okay, there's me. Let's see. It's backwards for me. All right, so it starts here. The inner critic is saying it wasn't a big deal. And this is a baseball field here. And this is my mom saying, "You were supposed to come home." And here's me saying I was hanging out with the bad kids after school. In the next panel, the inner critic says, "Follow the instructions," because I was completely lost of what to draw, where, and when. So the inner critic's yelling at me to follow the instructions. The canoe is here. At first, I didn't understand why I was on the ground. It took a long time before I really felt the pain. like 30 years before I felt the pain. A baseball hit the back of my neck so hard it broke the necklace I was wearing. There's a bunch of, everything's backwards. There's a bunch of baseballs here. Oh
my God.
And this is supposed to be a muscle, but I made it a clam because it was a gold necklace and it says pure gold over here. And the inner critic here says, you are on the wrong panel. At this point, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. But it hit the back of my neck, it says in that panel, and not my throat. So I'm still grateful that it didn't hit me in the throat. And then the final panel, it says, I feel the pain now. And we've got some biofreeze and a heating pad and the burning bonfire and the tentacles of pain. And the inner critic is now feeling some sympathy for me. Ouch.
Amazing. Amazing. I love how the inner critic has become part of the story in so many ways. Fantastic. Thank you. And that really happened. You got hit in the neck. Wow.
Yeah, even last night too. Like it'll wake me up in the middle of the night 40 years ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Nonetheless, we got to move on. Thank you.
In a second. Okay, honey, go down.
All right, Erla.
Hi. Okay, so my inner critic said to me, you are your best friend. Treat yourself that way. Be nice, be respectful. So when I was 13 years old, I went to the library and I wanted to sign out the book, Everything You Want to Know About Sex But Was Afraid to Ask. And this is the canoe section and this is the cooking section. So then it was, I figured out the math, it was 1972. And so she said to me, do your parents know you are signing this book out? And I was mortified and I clammed up, hence the clam. And, but I probably told my friends. So then I vowed, if I was ever in a position like that librarian to have an opinion, or to burn somebody like that, I wouldn't, and I'll never do that to another person. And this is my campfire and I got a roasted weenie that's half burnt. And so fast forward, I had to do the math again, 33 years. And I'm proud to say that I've never done that to anyone. And so here's all the people that I've ever signed out books to, because I used to work in a library. And this is the octopus with a great big book bag. And so the inner critic is saying, good for you, Erla. And you can read, research, write, whatever you want.
Amazing. I love that you had colors in there too, just filling up the space with all those lines. That's a hilarious story. Thank you, Erla. I'm going to take a second and try and cancel my. How do I get out of my other phone? Maybe I'll just forget it. I don't know if that worked or not. Maybe I can kick myself out. All right, we're going over to Jen now.
Okay, me, Jen? Oh, okay, cool. So, this is mine. That's the whole thing.
Oh.
Okay, so the first panel says, the critic is in the middle. For some reason, it came out looking like a grandmother. It says, you really gonna finish? And so at the bottom, I say, I'm drawing, beat it. And then there's me in my ugly elementary school uniform going, go away, buzz off. At the top says, so when I was 7, I was at YMCA day camp and we went to the lake. And then there's the canoe and there's Jimmy's station wagon. And that's Jimmy in the front seat. Okay, so that's that. Then the second panel, I'll show you that really quick. Oh, whoops, I did that backwards, my bad. Jimmy the hottie. Okay, my counselor in the second, third, or 50th crush I may have had by the age 7 says, I had a crush on Jimmy, a counselor with blue eyes, curly blonde hair, and dimples. And the critic says, hey, I'm smaller and my hair is curled backwards. This is a muscle, and it says a muscle which has no bearing in the story. And this says a pond lily, which does show up in my story. And then there's me. Okay, then this is the next panel right here. And I say, my critic says, hey, pay attention. And I say, on this fateful day, My ponytails were gone. My hair was long. I put my flower behind my ear, and I was wearing my favorite bathing suit. These are supposed to be paisleys, but they look like 69s, which was ironic since I was born in 69. This is Jimmy's blue station wagon. And down here, it says, this is the sleepover night we had roasted marshmallows. This doesn't figure in my story. That's down there, and there's the campfire. Okay. And then the last panel is, then I popped the question as we were driving home to the camp one day. Jimmy, do you think I'm sexy? And we are in Jimmy's station wagon.
It was hanging that way. Oh my God. And there was a teeny tiny little critic in that last panel too, right? What was it saying?
Oh yes, there was a critic, and the critic was in the middle going, ah, help. Yes.
Amazing. Thanks, Jen. So great. All right, so now we're going to go to Mary, Jenabeth, Camila, Carrie, and then whoever's down the line.
Okay.
All right.
This is going to be hard because it's so messy. So that's me sitting in a chair telling a story. That's my inner critic going, okay, boomer, should have gone on a canoe trip. And okay, let me just read this. Then there was the time he dragged my ass up the trail so steep and muddy, I kept sliding down covered in mud, and then it started to rain. But not only was it raining, but it was foggy. Damn it, John, this is a vacation in hell. So this is about, and see, there we are climbing the mountain. It was even steeper than that. Just trying to get above tree lines so that we can see the surrounding peaks in the Cascade Wilderness. And let me see, there's my inner critic saying, all you can draw are trees and
mountains.
Trees and mountains. And that's me lying on the ground when we got above the tree line to a fairly flat place where there was a lake. I'm lying on the mountain. My boyfriend is looking like a mountain man. What about those guys with the campfire over there? Maybe they have food, and then it's just fog, totally socked in. I don't know how to draw fog, but I'm still learning. I'm trying to learn how to draw fog. Those are our backpacks. And then let's see. Somewhere over here is Glacier Peak, which I never got to see. This was just above tree line. There was a lake and it was pretty, but no mountains could be seen because of the curse word expletive deleted fog. And he's my inner critic, and he's saying, my boyfriend has become my inner critic, which he was for a very long time.
Wow.
Buck up. I'm not into barging into someone else's camp. Well, I am. And I don't know what this is. It's a face in the fog. And so I'm barging into their little camp, and see, there's the campfire that I was told to draw, but knew I had to draw anyway. And hey, can I warm up by the fire? Sure, pull up a stump. We're catching fish with Cheerios. It was just like so remote up there that they could put a Cheerio on a fishing line and catch a fish. And yeah, can I warm up by the fire? That climb up here, one guy says, that climb up here made me feel like a man. And I said, it made me feel like a fool. So that's the end of the story. And there's my boyfriend is following me. So,
into the campground that he wouldn't go to.
Yeah. It's like, I don't care. I'm cold and I'm wet, and I'm gonna go sit by the campfire. And
awesome.
So, and
I love how you filled up space, especially that third panel. There's so many.
Yeah, he just really tried to fill it in.
Hooray.
But it's all just mountains and rocks and a lake. Oh, there is an octopus. The octopus is in the cloud right here.
Oh yeah, just hanging out.
Yeah, just hang. That's how ominous the fog was.
We're creating great visual
Monsters in it.
metaphors for this, yeah. Great, thanks, Mary.
Thanks.
Yeah, sure. We're going to Jenna Beth, and then and let's see, unmute.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
I used pencil, so I don't know that you'll be able to see very well.
Yeah, we can.
So I chose not to keep up. These were my 4 panels. I got through two and a half.
Cool. What's going on in them?
So I tried to tell a story about going to the hardware store with my dad. So this one is, I used to go to the hardware store with my dad. My fave part was the smell of the lumber. And then I drew myself in the canoe. Wood and lumber, the smell of the trees. And then I go up, let's see, where is it? Here. I also loved the smell of my dad. Is that weird? I hope not. Oh, the inner critic I forgot about. So I wasn't totally into the inner critic, but something fun came out of it anyway. I guess my inner critic just wasn't very strong today. But because I didn't even really believe this at first. I think the inner critic says, "You call that drawing?" I don't know. There's my dad. And then Dad would walk through the aisles very quickly and I had trouble keeping up. And there's some lumber and there's wheat. I'm trying to keep up with him. So that was the first panel. And then I was very behind, so I didn't get all of the things done.
There's a lot in that first panel.
Yeah, I drew really big squares. Didn't realize that was going to cause a problem. Then the inner critic says, what's he say? Oh, that looks nothing like your dad. And at this point, I started talking about the lemonade that was also at the hardware store, which was another part I loved about going to the hardware store, which you can see all over this. I loved how sour it was. But at this point, I put a cup over the inner critic.
Oh, nice.
Which I think was inspired by the thinking about the lemonade and that came in a cup. And then finally, the octopus. I just wrote, "Hey, octo legs, would you like to eat this tasty, tasty, tasty morsel?" And that's the inner critic in the cup. And I'm holding it on my hand. And then I wrote, "Also, I like your hat," because the octopus has a top hat on. So this was really fun. That's where I got to.
Awesome. Thank you, Jenna Beth.
Thank you.
Some of these stories just kind of morph. All right, we'll go to Camila next. Let's see. Here we go.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I have really bad memory, so it was a little hard to come up with like something specific. But I did like, wait, I don't know if you can see very well because it's also in pencil. But basically, it's about how the first panel is in 2016, basically, just to like set the time. And my inner critic says, "You can't write," like on the corner. And then on the next panel, it says, "I met my first virtual friend." See, they're saying hi up there. And then my inner critic says, "You drew me too big in the first panel." Okay. And yeah, we built stuff together. Then it says right next to it, because that's something I really remember. And then on the third panel, it says, "The internet became everything," basically. And my friends were really nice. And like I started drawing them more as people instead of like little square guys. And in the last panel,
I like all those little flashy, sparkly things. They fill up space real well.
yeah, it was really fun. Like you said, like drawing just squiggly things, nothing like very concrete, just abstract stuff to fill space. And then in the last one, it says, "And although many years have passed and we all found new virtual pals, I'll never forget them."
Oh,
basically.
Nice. Terrific.
And the inner critic is saying, well, the third one I forgot to say, it's saying, "I don't know what's happening." And then the fourth one, it says, "I'm leaving." So yeah. Yeah, no, I can't see very well because of the pencil, but
It goes in and out. Thanks so much. It's terrific. It's a really nice
yeah,
story.
of course.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yep. Kari, we're going to need Kari to come on video before we can. Oh, Jackie, Robin Smith probably called them Emanata. All right, and here's Kari.
All right, I'm trying to get it in here. Okay. All right. So the story that I told was when my sister and my friend and I were really little, we used to play in the lot next door. It was empty. And one time an adult came by and said, "Which one of you is the oldest?" And I said I was. And she gave me a baggie filled with a goldfish and water. So here's the story. So I'm telling the story of how we used to play in the sand, and I used to make little sand pies with bottle caps. And that's my eye. My inner critic was a cranky old cat, and she told me I was running out of ink here. In this panel, she says, "You're taking too long." And she also says that I'm still taking too long because I was looking at Tom's and he was like done pretty much by the time I was done with my second panel. And then in the fourth one, she says that I'm not telling the story correctly. But going back, the mollusk appeared in the story because the lot next door would flood when it rained. And I said I always look for wildlife, and I'm making this up, but I said I was looking for mollusks.
Right.
And then in the third panel, here's the scene where the adult gives me the fish, and it looks like we're sitting around a campfire, but really we're just sitting around some sand. And this is the goldfish in the bag. And then finally, I had the goldfish for a number of years. It was really happy. And you would have thought I had a pet octopus, which I love that goldfish. And that is my story. This was really fun. I hope to fill this out and post it later.
Awesome. Please do. Thank you so much. I love how how the prompts made it into the story in a lot of ways. Okay, cool. We're going to Cheryl next.
All right. Switch to camera. There we go. Easy way, maybe. So I kind of really felt with Akire. Everyone's always telling you to shut down your inner critic. And I'm like, I don't feel like I have an inner critic, but I do have a husband. And then I drew some animals eating the inner critic. The bird's head didn't come out cute enough. And I drew some more birds and the mussels, and then a nest with eggs. And I'm like, the texture of mussels and eggs freaks me out. And I spelled mussels wrong. And then I was thinking about the canoe. I don't know why it's not focusing. Maybe if I go like this.
It's okay. We can see.
You don't paddle well enough to kayak by yourself. And then in Hawaii, I saw a pipefish that freaked me the F out. Not a pipefish. And there's this strange fire. And then you can't draw anything without a reference image. And then I drew the octopus. Octopus also have a texture that I can't handle. I am terrified about the existence of aliens. Hat or UFO. Pipefish. I drew this with a reference image. Not a pipefish.
Nice, really fun. I get that same voice where like, you didn't make that bird cute enough, but you just keep playing anyway. I think it's really playful. I love in the first panel and the third panel, especially. I like all the patterns and things. Was it fun?
Thank you. It was fun. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you for doing that. I hope everybody will post these also. I see you have National Geographic there. Was that the reference images?
I'm a collage artist, so this is my big
Awesome.
mess.
Terrific. Okay, we'll go to the family gathering at Charlie, Katie, and Sue. There we go.
That to make it go quicker.
No, so we have 3 artists here today.
Right.
I'm going to show you mine real quick because it's cool.
And Bob Ross too. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, Bob's there.
Holy cow.
It's like before Bob Ross it's almost like Bob Ross got in like this machine and he came out as cardboard. It's almost like Bob Ross came in a machine and he didn't know what it did and he came out of the machine flattened and made out of cardboard and he was just frozen still.
Could be. Could be. All right. So I did sort of don't look at this one, like a collage thing, and I didn't completely follow the prompts except for making it really busy and full. So the first panel, I'm at summer camp and it's called the Youth Agency, so YA, and it was like, yay. And that's the building. And we took a bus everywhere, went to adventures. And then we would always go to Town Beach. And the big deal was like, oh, how much money did you bring for the snack bar? How much money did you bring? And then like hanging out on the beach with the kids and the counselors. This was probably like in the early 90s. And then also like reading like Teen Magazine and 17 Magazine in the early 90s. And it was like the first time I saw those magazines because I was like, I don't know, 11 or 10 or 9 or 12. I don't know. I was young, so I'd never seen those magazines before. And seeing one of the models, and I could not believe how green her eyes were. And it was the first time I understood what like photoshopping in magazines was like in the early 90s, because they're like, oh, that's not real. I'm like, what do you mean that's not real? That's in a magazine. Of course it's real. So it was like a wake up. So I didn't follow the prompt at all, except for it's small and it's busy.
Could I see?
But you filled it up. Small and busy is okay.
Right.
Could I see?
Yeah. Okay. Your turn.
But can I see it? Let me see it
Well,
real quick.
you do
Let me
yours.
see it first.
They're waiting for you.
Let me see.
They're waiting for you. They're waiting for you.
Wow, did you draw that picture of the people at the beach?
No, that's a collage. Okay.
Was that, did you draw the people at the beach there?
No, it's your turn.
Okay. Well,
They're waiting for you.
Here's the first page.
I'm gonna hold it and you explain it.
This is the first page right here. There's a ice cream store, and the ice cream store is called Joe's.
Cool.
And oh wait.
What? Oh no, we're not adding.
I just forgot.
Oh my god.
Okay, I'm ready.
You guys, I'm so sorry.
And then at Joe's, this guy here, the guy says, "Here you go," and he gets his ice cream, and then all of a sudden that guy, he's scared because he notices something. This mean guy who slams open the door, and it says slam, and that's his face, and he's not a friendly guy. And then he's walking towards the counter, and the other guy and the ice cream guy, they're shivering because they're scared of him. And then on the next page,
it's another page.
On the next page, that guy says 1, and then the ice cream guy is so scary and says yep, and then that's the ice cream he's giving him. He takes the ice cream, and then he chews it up and says and then it tastes really good, and his eyes become ice cream, and he says yum. And then at the end, everybody at the ice cream store is cheering, yay!
The whole building. Wow, there's some great drawings in there. Thanks so much.
You.
Awesome. Is his name Charlie? Is that
Yeah.
Charlie? Thank you, Charlie.
Grandma
Terrific.
doesn't want to share hers. That's all right.
All right. On Instagram or TikTok. Yvonne is next then. Thank you. Thanks, team.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Okay, my inner critic is a fly,
And in the first panel, he says, "You're not as good as everyone else." And let me see. I start on the bottom on this one. When I was 19, I drove cross country in my dad's Mercedes with 2 other friends. And then this is one of the friends says, "It was 1979. I went on the trip. My name is Faye." That's the Mercedes. And the other chick, "I went to, my name is Claudia, and there was no canoe involved." And she's in a canoe. Let's see, the second one, the critic says, "Everyone else draws better than you." And I say, "We had all decided to bring a 1/4 pound of pot with us." And here's the pot dealer. And he says, "Here's your pot." And there's the pot. And Faye says, "I decided I didn't want to smoke pot on the trip." And Claudia said, "I had some muscles before the trip because we were going to be mostly landlocked." Interest. Yeah, okay. And then the fly says, "You're better at playwriting. You feel me?"
You feel me.
And I say, "So off we went towards Florida, smoking pot all the way." And there's a sign that says, "You have entered Florida." And Claudia says, "Look at the flamingo." I couldn't fit him in, so I made him fly. And Faye says, "I want my money back for the pot." And I made a campfire with a homeless guy.
Wow, I like how he's laid out there.
He's roasted marshmallow, and there's a
On his
snake
belly.
behind him.
Oh my
'Cause
God.
it's Florida.
Yeah.
The last one, the sorry, I can't say. "You've completed the story, but I'm not impressed." The critic says. And then I say, "Faye ended up staying in California because Claudia and I were high most of the time." And Faye says, "I'm staying in California and I'd like my portion of the pot back." We're going to smoke most of it. And her friend says, "Hey, Faye, it's time for dinner." There's where she's going. And I say, "I don't see that happening." And Claudia's laughing. We're both high. And the octopus says, "Where did the ocean go?"
It's great. It's just wild, meandering. I love it.
Thank you.
Really nice.
Very fun.
Fun. Cool. Thank you. Thanks, Yvonne. Okay,
Thank
we're gonna go to Jackie, Janine, Darlene, Mishka, and after that, I don't know. Let's see. Uh-oh. Oh no, wait, hold on. Jackie, I took your hand down. Now I gotta find you again. I might need Jackie to repost her hand. Jackie, where'd you go?
Hi.
Oh, there you are. Okay, good.
Good.
Yeah.
How are you?
Now you're spotlighted again.
I am. Are you?
Yep, you're good.
The 3:30? Yes, us too.
Here.
Oh wait, somebody's speaking. Anybody know
Yeah.
who that is?
I was actually supposed to test at Charter Oak. And I was telling Clint, we go over our calendars because our,
Who's not muted?
busy lives, right? So
There we go. Jackie, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's me. Being all like, hey, you want to hear a story? It's got my brother and me in it, and some aminals. There's my canoe. There's my inner critic, and it's like, hey, nice gutters. My dad, and then Philly to the canoe saying to the zoo. And then it was really hot out, and the day that my dad took us to the zoo, and thinking of a muscle for some reason, and my inner critics all, "Oh, you're gonna post this on social media?" And we were going to the groundhog exhibit, and my dad smoking, and my brother eating Cracker Jacks. And there were these poor groundhogs were walking around sweltering, and despite the huge sign that said "Do not feed the animals," here's all the groundhogs walking around sweltering. They had nothing to eat, just wilted lettuce, really pathetic. And here I am posting the inner critic with, hey, why is your dad wearing makeup in the last panel? Here I am posting my inner critic with this, it's like a spider thing with a magnifying glass in the sun. We had to feed them. They look so much happier. Here, have some Cracker Jack. My inner critic's like, I'm gonna take off. But I filled up the panel with a lot of happy groundhogs and Cracker Jacks.
They're so happy. They're so happy.
They were. You have no idea. They were like, I can remember that clear as day. And they just, with all that wilted lettuce, they were so glad to have the Cracker Jack. So,
awesome.
That's my
Jackie
story.
Chang. Those are great groundhogs and
Thank
great,
you.
just great,
Thank you.
drawings and clutter and everything else in there.
Thank you so much.
I love that. I'm going to take off that critic saying that.
I'm gonna take off.
Okay, we're going to.
Thank you.
Yep, Janine next. Let's see. Here we go.
Hi
Hi.
there. Let's see here. So here's mine. Sad story. And feeling a little vulnerable about sharing it, but so here is I didn't follow the prompt of bottom to top. I just was like, yeah, my critic's like, you suck at drawing quickly. My dad was my first art teacher. And so there's me looking kind of like a Cupid doll or something, but we're drawing at this table and there's my critic in the middle. And my critic says, get your shit together. I don't know why the critic is saying that to a tiny little 4-year-old, but this is our dog, Phoebe, my beloved standard poodle, Phoebe, with a big canoe in the room. I don't know why that's there, but then it says my colorings. And my mother was so proud. And she used to hang all my pictures on the back of the front door. So if you were leaving or coming in, you would see all my pictures. And so then this is my mother from the other room saying, Janine, what are you doing? Everything okay? Oh, I can hear you humming. Everything's fine. And this is, I'm going, because she told me that I used to hum all the time when I drew. And this is my turtle Orange, who I know was not the object that was supposed to be in there, but my turtle named Orange. Phoebe is in every panel. The inner critic is under here. I gotta see the inner critic is she's in La La Land. And this is supposed to be a box of crayons. And this is my favorite. It was a child-sized, I still have it, unbelievable, a drawing table that's like brightly colored flowered vinyl. And I didn't get muscles as a crustacean. I made my little self have big muscles. So, which is really true. So then over here there's Phoebe hanging out of the panel, and the critic is down here and says, hey, stupid, watch out. If you love something, it'll get taken away. And I put, I drew stacks of drawings. They were a part of me, my way of being me. I love to draw. I love colors. I love to color. I love pictures. And there's the campfire is one of the pictures. And then the last panel, it says, wow, where's my pictures, my drawings? And that's obviously me crying. And I think I was about 5. And my mother said, oh, I gave them to your uncle. He liked them. And other various people, like she just gave them away all the time. And so, no. They're mine. They're me. And the critic says, ha, told you so. And there's Phoebe, and there's the octopus kind of hanging out up there. So this is a not resolved story.
I love that the critic sets it up in the third panel with like a little bit of suspense or foreshadowing, saying, don't, what you love, you can't hang on to, Very cool. Thanks so much. Okay, we'll go to Darlene. Darlene, I haven't seen you in a long time. How are you? Are you muted?
Hi.
Yeah.
Okay,
Great.
so my inner critic, I actually presented outer critics. I have more trouble with outer critics than inner critics. So here's my first is the outer critic says, you can't tell this story. It's not yours. I taught myself to paint with oils. Stop ordering art supplies. Over here, the animals are supportive. She cried while painting her first canvas, yet still she paints and draws every day. The outer critic here. Are you crazy? I told you to stop. Oils, then acrylics, mixed media, then comics, then writing fiction and more comics. You're just a lady doing crafts. That's not art. And then my cartoon character Zebra, shut up, critics.
You're so great at all those patterns and things like that. I was definitely thinking of you when I was looking at this Julie Doucet book, because you fill up all that space too in this really lovely way.
Space. Thank you.
Nice. I can't remember who said I need to get a zebra fix, but they were talking this was, a few months back. They were talking about your work on Instagram. They're like, I need a zebra fix, but I can't remember.
Cheney usually, the cartoonist usually says he needs his zebra.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's one of them at least. Yeah, Zebra hasn't showed up for a while, has he?
Awesome. Thanks, Darlene.
Thank you.
Later. We're gonna wait. What happened to Janine? I'm not sure. So we'll skip to Mishka, and then we'll see if Janine's still there. Oh, you did the thing where you put it on the screen again.
Right, so here it is. Whoops, but you can't see me. Okay.
Yeah.
So I can read it. So this is the funniest day at the worst job ever. And you can see the pig there is one of the co-CEOs. And it was before our white elephant gift exchange. Did I already tell this story here? Okay. So it was a $20 limit. And then she said, but no bad presents. Because I don't like bad presents. So make sure you bring good presents. And I thought, if it's optional and there's such a thing as a bad present, I'm not going to do this. And then her best friend, her co-CEO, asked the day before, and you can see me in a leaky canoe there. It's pink. And did everyone get a present for the gift exchange? And I said, if we don't have to bring a gift, I'm not going to. And she said, why not? Tammy said we don't, she didn't want bad presents. So I decided that if I get if there's a good present and a bad one, I just don't want to subject myself to that kind of judgment. So this is interesting because there's like a critic within the critic. Oh, and the inner critic is over there. Oop, there, can you see it? Why did you try to fix it?
Got it.
And then I wouldn't want to subject myself to that kind of judgment. Isn't it optional? Yes, but, and she was tongue-tied. But later she texted me, and you can see it there. Mishka, if you feel worried about being judged in the white elephant exchange, you can just let me buy one on your behalf, which for any of you who are bosses, that is the wrong answer. And then on the day of the white elephant exchange, it was a slow motion train wreck, which you can see in the bottom of the last panel. At some point they had a Hamilton ticket, which was way over the $20 limit. And people were really grabby, like a bunch of octopi. And it was hell. And then as if to directly quote that old show, The Office, there was a third one, which was a brand new iPad. And you can see me, I'm the green frog laughing. Oops, where am I? There I am, maybe? Or am I over? Anyway, I'm laughing. I'm trying not to laugh. The end.
Amazing.
Wow.
Wait, did you say best day at worst job ever? What was the title?
It was the funniest day at the worst job ever.
Okay, hilarious. Oh my God. All right, well, I hope you'll post that so we can get a closer look again.
Okay.
Thanks, Misha. All right,
Welcome.
Michael is next. Let's see. And you're muted, Michael, just FYI. Wow, looks great.
I think I figured. Okay, I swear to God, I'll read this really fast. My inner critic is camera.
This bird?
Yeah, it's this like a parrot that sits on my shoulder. It says, "You suck" when I draw. And he's saying here, everything you draw is a new opportunity to disappoint yourself.
Oh, jeez.
So the story begins here. When I was 12, I went to my first bar mitzvah. It was for Harold Dumbrov, who lived in our building in Flushing. Harold was a year older and a classic nerd. He liked to take things apart and put them back together like alarm clocks just for fun. He got hit hard by puberty and was already shaving at 12.
The canoe. Love the canoe in there.
Yeah, the canoe. I mean, I tried to get them in there. It was hard. When Harold walked home from school, he was surrounded by 3 really pretty girls, also from the building. We called these girls Harold's harem. There's the muscle. By the way, I always thought that muscles looked like tiny vaginas. Anyway, knowing what a nebbish Harold was made it confusing to reconcile why Harold was such a ladies' man. Did I mention his crackly voice that kept changing pitch when he spoke, or his many moles? And now here's the campfire. I mean, what was the appeal, you know? Was it the shaving? I suppose it was a novelty that Harold was the first kid at school to shave. I guess it's also true that Harold was really nice. He was like, you know, an absent-minded professor, always tinkering. His room cluttered with electronic projects at various stages and plans for future projects. Like one day he hoped to build a robot. And one time we built, here's the octopus. We built an amusement park for parakeets with working rides constructed from erector set parts. Anyway, when I got the fancy invite to Harold's bar mitzvah, I was real nervous because the main thing that happens at the party is dancing. I'd never danced with a girl before, and I was sure I'd freeze up and spend the whole time in a chair, but guess what? I didn't. I asked girls to dance, and they said yes, and we danced, and it was thrilling. And
wow.
The parrot, I kind of snuck the parrot in, because I kind of forgot about the parrot because I was too busy talking.
Oh my God.
So
Michael, it's amazing. Really amazing. And you added this like gray marker, which is really lovely. Is that a marker?
Oh, this was
Or is it
supposed to be a razor for.
No, I mean, there's some grayscale in there in the.
Oh yeah, the water pen. I love.
Oh, it's really nice, and it's amazing you had time for that. I think you really took to this this prompt. Those pages look great.
Yeah,
and the inner critic I mean, you kind of forgot about it. That's like a total win.
I was too busy.
Yeah, that's it. That's the job.
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll go to Jeff, Toady, Susanna, Bridget, and I think there's one more after that. Well, but they're not on my screen yet. Thanks, Michael. Wait, Jeff.
Hey. Oh, there we go. So this doesn't have a lot of text, so it should be pretty simple. My thing is called, I'll orient here. Is it this way? This way.
We see it.
Rockstar in the corner, right? So turn left to right. That's me in my room, and I'm playing Rockstar with all my toys around and stuff like that, trying to jam to records and stuff. And then I go to school, and the school isn't working for me in the corner there. And then I'm on my little soapbox, and all the books are flying around, and they have science and math on them and how to do this. And that's the little clam there in the little corner there. And then finally I do my first show. It's all about my first show as like a band member, and I'm really rocking out, and this is my life, you know. And then the fire is burning all the little toys that I had, which I had drawn the little toys in for my room because I started when I was 12. And so the fire was a great addition to that. So I put that in there. And then I move out, and then at the end of the show, I was so nervous that I threw up and I was just lost it. And all the people are standing around going, "Are you all right? What's going on?" And I'm like, and then the great synergy was that the octopus came in, and it became like part of the whole like spewing and everything else that I was drawing when I was doing it. So it was crazy.
Wow. Yeah, the synergy pops up a lot in some of these, and that's a great example of it. Wow. And you clearly have no problem with maxing out the space. That's great. Just how much ink you put on the panel or in the page.
It was friggin' nerve wracking. I was just going crazy. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Cool. So we're going to go to Toady, Susanna, Bridget, and then that's it actually. Cool. Here we go.
Hey, oh my gosh, such tough acts to follow. Let me
Great. Let's see.
throw on my iPad. So, oh gosh, okay.
Oh, and sorry. Let's see.
My story is about like just my like chronic fear of the dentist. So let me make sure you can see this. The first panel from bottom to top says, I've always hated the dentist. And then my inner critic is in my mouth saying, go brush your teeth. And then on the top, I have my younger self saying, who likes flossing? I don't trust chronic flossers. And then for my second panel, I kind of zoomed into a mouth, and my inner critic is saying, it smells in here, freak. And then I have myself in the bottom saying, I knew someone I knew told me their baby sister drank chocolate milk before bed and all of her teeth rot. And I have my like little mussels chilling in the background and some fish swimming around. And then for my third panel, my inner critic is chilling in a glass of chocolate milk, and it says, adults don't drink chocolate milk. And then I respond by saying, how would you know what adults do, you fat baby? Because I just like the phrase fat baby for some reason. And then I'm also drinking some chocolate milk that my inner critic is sitting in. Kind of weird, but my fourth panel is my octopus dentist. I don't know. I actually saw an octopus today, which was really cool. But he's just chilling, and he says, I saw the most disgusting tooth I've ever seen today. And at the top, I'm saying, someone's got to be the worst case scenario. And then my inner critic is telling me not to be dramatic, and I'm crying in the corner. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Utterly fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh my God. I hope you'll post that, and I hope everyone will post these elsewhere so we can sort of have a permanent record, semi-permanent. Thank you so much. That was great. I love the critic and the chocolate milk. Awesome. We're going to go to Susanna, and then Bridget, then Jamie.
Okay, so did I manage to unmute?
Yeah.
Cool. So the craziest thing happened when I started doing this. I wasn't wearing my favorite octopus earrings, but I put them in the comic. I actually felt the inclination to put these octopus earrings
in panel 1 before panel 4.
Before panel 4, from panel 1. Oh, that's Alexa. Sorry. Okay. Alexa, turn off the alarm. I need to put that in too. But these are the earrings, and I went and got them so that I could actually show you guys that these are real earrings.
Amazing.
That yeah, and I'm talking about the earrings, and then I'm forgetting the other writing prompts because I'm thinking too much about the earrings. And then these are my cats, Ariadne and Drip, and they're chasing miller moths that are all around.
Ariadne and Drip.
Drip and Airy, yeah. And then the octopuses are like my two inner critics, where Drip and Airy are just running around consuming the miller moths. And then here are my, again, the octopus earrings, and they're really tearing into me. And then I made a whole new panel because I kept forgetting to add things, but then I went back. Oh yeah, the canoe is on, I know the canoe's in the first one. It's like silver sort of, I'll do a better drawing of it later. There it is. And then the kitties, Ariadne and Drip, are chomping at the moths. And then there are my earrings, which I'll draw in more detail later, but I sort of added the mouths that you can see. They don't actually have mouths that come with them. But here I am, and I keep losing my train of thought. And the octopuses, when they hear octopus in the writing prompts, they're just like, what the fuck? And then I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh my God. And then campfire in the end. So I put the octopus inner critics in the campfire, but this is for real. I lost the post of the earring. I couldn't find it. And then I lost the second post of the earring. But then the first post I realized was actually on the earring. And I just kept getting distracted, and all my inner demons were torturing me. And at some point I tried to draw the cat playing with the earring post, but that was too complicated. I didn't have the skills to do that. So I put that into the comic also.
Amazing. So much I guess synergy is the word for that. So cool. Thank you. I hope those earrings don't give you the same problem when you actually wear them that they were giving you in the comic. Hassling you in that way, I mean. But fantastic. And I hope you find the second post.
I can always replace the post. That's the beauty of it. Like,
oh, right.
I don't have to burn them. I can just find another post. They're easy
Awesome.
to replace.
Well, thanks, Susanna. All right, we're gonna go to Bridget and then we're gonna find Jamie in the grid.
Can I share my screen? Would that be okay? I have my comic on my computer.
Yeah, I have to let you. Give me a second to, oh, wait. Oh, fudge. Let me see how I do that.
It's done. I did it, Tom.
Yay, Michael.
Oh, thanks.
You should be able to do it. And Susan Marks is posting the after party link. Thanks. We're going really long on this one today. I didn't realize. How cool.
Okay.
Let us know if you're able to do that.
I don't actually know if I have the power. Oh, this seems too complicated. I'm just going to hold it up.
Okay.
In the theme of letting go of my inner critic, this can be less than perfect, showing you guys my comic. So this was fun for me because I never finished a 4-panel comic this fast ever. Like, it took me a week to do my last one because I just spend way too much time. So it was fun to just have to work quicker and kind of with time in mind and just let things not be perfect. So my story is about a trip my family took to Alaska. This is the first panel, and it's me and my family on a trip. And it says, when I was 10 years old, my family took a trip to Alaska and went on a beautiful hike in Sitka. And then my inner critic is in the canoe saying, "You draw too slow." And I had white space at the end, so I went back and drew my octopus that shows up in the 4th panel. So he's hiding behind the rock, just watching the scene. And then 2nd panel, suddenly my mother stops dead on the trail, beholding one of the most terrifying things that she has ever seen in the wild. And she's telling me to get behind her. And my sister, it says, "Big sis is left undefended," because my mom throws herself in front of me. And then it says over here that my dad is off photographing trees somewhere, because that's what he does on hikes. And my inner critic is up in the tree, and it's saying, "Your faces aren't very consistent," because that's what I think whenever I draw. And then 3rd panel, I'm gonna have to look to remember what I said here. "A great hulking beast, a wolf, stood before her, and my mother knew she could only protect one child, so she chose the younger." And the inner critic is in the corner saying, "Oh, wow, that's actually pretty good."
Good. It's getting, nicer.
It's warming up to the comic. And then in the last panel, it says, "It was actually a husky, and it had a collar on, and it came trotting up to us." And we never let my mom hear the end of it. And my sister was really upset that my mother jumped in front of me instead of her. And then that's me saying, "Oh, look, an octopus."
Nice. Terrific. What a great story. I love that the inner critic was in the tree in that 2nd panel. You just sort of relegated it to that. Oh,
also in the tree there saying, "I'm proud of you."
Oh, wow. See, great. Oh, yeah. Wow. So do you guys still talk about that? That's an amazing story. You must.
Oh, we talk about it all the time. It comes up often because my sister still has a little bit of a grudge about, "Remember that time you chose to protect her over me?"
Totally. That makes total sense. That's a great story. Okay, I'm in the grid looking for Jamie, so I can highlight Jamie. Oh wait, I think I just saw her. It just came on. There we go.
All right, this is now I don't know what's happening. This is the worst because
You know what's happening?
how do I turn him off? Because I'm not at my house, and so
I don't know.
Okay, just forget it. All right. Look, if I hold it really close, no, it's not. Yeah. Oh no.
That's right.
No.
Good. That's good.
Right there. Okay, so I gotta be quiet because I'm not at my house, and this is just I didn't really know what was going on because I was late because I've been working my butt off to try and get out of debt. So I jumped in, and the story I'm telling is something that I overheard when I was waiting for the elevator. It was this married couple, and she's saying, like, you wore those pants like 6 days in a row and they smell. And he's going, yeah, but they don't look dirty. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, if that's what being married's like, then I think I'll just stay single forever. So then it's me and the dog over here, and we're just like chilling out, and they're fighting again. She's going, you're turning into your mother. And she's like, you know, your mother wasn't always like that. She went downhill, and you're going downhill too. So then I'm like, oh shit, this is about the inner critic. So I turned the octopus into my inner critic, and it's saying, yeah, you're going downhill. And it's like, that story is stupid and ugly, and so are you. And then this is all the shit that's distracting me from like really making art and stuff. Oh, that's better. And then this is like, you know, it's saying, don't draw that. That is stupid. And then it's saying that you suck. And it's saying you'll be a dog walker forever. And that's like ideas jumping out of a ship, the ideas that suck. And the shark is trying to kill the inner critic. That's like me fighting back. Look, I'm putting down the martinis. I miss them so much. But anyway, that's all I have to say for tonight. Thank you so much for having me. And I hope those people aren't outside the door right now, because the elevator is literally like 10 feet away. Okay, thanks for having me. Bye.
Jamie, that's amazing. Post that so we can see that more
I
close
will,
up.
yeah, in a less panic state. I also drank like a pot of coffee today. I need to quit that and chocolate together. It's like,
Yeah, go for a walk.
Okay, I'm gonna walk the dog now. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Or how do I remove spotlight? There we go. All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much. This was really fun. And also, you know, Julie Doucet is not on social media, but maybe hashtag her if you put these on Instagram, because a lot of these, you know, because they were inspired by that book, which again is here, Time Zone J. I think she's a genius, and this is another masterpiece. So go look for it, but also tag her, and I don't know, whatever. But thanks, and we've got a lot of things happening at SAW. Go to sawcomics.org, and Susan Marks has another Zoom thing happening right now. And here's the link. And thanks so much for doing this. And next week we've got Jess Roloff. And yeah, thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Tom, that was
Thank
awesome.
you. Good night, everybody. Thanks. That was awesome.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
So freaking
Caleb,
Tom.
Caleb,
Thank
Caleb, you're
you.
here. Oh my God.
Wonderful.
I wanna see
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Bye.
Caleb, I want to see you again.
Thanks. Hi, Tom. How are you?
Good. How are things? Are you going to be in Gainesville in July? I'm coming down in July with Molly Rose.
Probably. Yeah. Absolutely.
Late July, last 2 weeks.
Cool. Yeah, we'll be in town.
Okay. Oh my God. All right. It's so nice to see you. Nice to see all
I
of
hear
you.
your voice. It's unbelievable. Yeah.
Bye.
And